Good people from just about everywhere, thank you for choosing our miniature webisode. My name is Ed and I brought with me one supersonic species, the future Richard Maspero. Hello, good sir.
How are you doing?
I'm alright, back in our usual spot. We're not in suits, we're in golf gear this week.
Yeah, it's Masters Week and it's exciting times.
It is indeed. Now, just talk to me about how you go about mastering Augusta, because we all know that it is a tough course, but a lot of these guys have been there plenty of times before. What are they going to be looking at this week in particular?
First of all, I think experience is key. Somebody like Phil Mickelson's played it for 20 years in a row. Tiger's been there for 18. Experience is vital for that. They know it like the back of their hands. But for just a general golfer that's going there, you know, everybody talks about short game and putting and how important that is. I reckon the long game is probably more important. You look at the last couple of years and the guys who've won it, it's all been the sort of golfers that have overpowered the course. You know, Phil Mickelson, Angel Cabrera, Charles Schwartzel's not short off the tee, Tiger Woods, all those guys hit a long ball, and I think that's pretty much key to getting the better of Augusta.
Now, all the guys that you've mentioned there know pretty much every blade of grass at Augusta, but let's talk about the so-called heir apparent, and that is Rory McIlroy, the big favourite this year with Tiger Woods. That's the battle, that's the backdrop that everybody's looking forward to. Now, we would like to see them go in all square on round 4, because that would be quite something. Now, Rory McIlroy did hold off Tiger Woods at the Honda Classic a little earlier this year. Do you think he's got the chutzpah to get over those demons from last year?
It's going to be interesting to watch, and I think that's probably going to be the most interesting thing about the Masters this year, is to see what Rory McIlroy does. That 80 that he shot in the final round last year was just absolutely horrendous, but he bounced back and he won the US Open and won it convincingly, and that's why I think he's a serious contender. He showed last year just what he can do to Augusta National, absolutely dominated for 3 days and then just had a brain fart and lost it completely on the back nine. So I think he's a serious contender. I know the bookies have him and Tiger Woods as pretty much the outright favourites, and I think they're spot on with that.
And of course, Tiger won a fortnight ago at Bay Hill. The Arnold Palmer played very nicely at that indeed. Now let's look at a couple of the close contenders. Guys that hit long off the tee. Lee Westwood, we know that he's still looking for that first major. There are other guys as well. Hunter Mahan also played quite well this year, a couple of tournament victories for him. Who do you see as the closest challenger to the ones that we've spoken of as the outrights?
I think definitely those two that you've mentioned now. Lee Westwood is an exceptional driver of the golf ball. I think his game is suited perfectly to Augusta. If his short game and his putting comes right and heats up during the week, I think it's going to be his to lose. And he's been close a couple of times, finished second before there. It's eluded him on a number of occasions, the major victory that he so desperately wants. And somebody like Hunter Mahan, you mentioned him, good player, but I just don't see it happening for him this week. I know he's up to 4 in the world.
Highest placed American.
Yeah, and he's had a pretty good run as well, played exceptionally well in the World Match Play, won last week. You know, he's on paper a contender, but I don't see it happening. I really don't.
And there are several dark horses. Let's just quickly whip through them. We know Dustin Johnson's out with a back injury. He's been tweeting about that. But, you know, there are several others. Adam Scott, the Australian, Jason Day, on debut at the Masters last year, came in at tied second with his compatriot Adam Scott. There's also Luke Donald, short off the tee. We know that you described him before as a pea shooter. You're not expecting much from the world number 1 this week?
No, putting exceptional, short game's good, iron play is superb, but off the tee, I don't know. I just think the guys who are really going to score low at Augusta are the ones who are going to overpower the par 5s. They're not the longest ever, but it helps if you're hitting a reasonable iron or maybe at worst a 3-wood in and you're fairly comfortable with reaching it in 2. But the guys who are going to struggle for that, don't see it happening. Eagles is what you want.
And of course the golf boys as well, Ricky Fowler and Bubba Watson. We're looking forward to the Masters. Augusta is the place to watch this weekend if you're watching the Barclays Premier League, Spanish La Liga, the Meh PL. If you're having a bet, the best of luck. All the best. We'll see you next week. Cheers.
Cheers.